What's up, people, and welcome here to a special video right here, right now on my video on this channel, as I'm going to discuss about who will be the potential candidates to take over Steve Evans' job as manager of the Stevenage Football Club. It was been a very disappointing week for Stevenage in terms of losing him. A lot of people question about his loyalty at Stevenage. Did he leave early? Did he just not care about Stevenage? Is this to do with the money, of course? And maybe in a way, you know, his football methods at Stevenage is not going to get us anywhere further, in my honest opinion. So I'm not really mad about it, like maybe any other person might criticise about Steve Evans leaving Stevenage to go to join Rotherham United. But in my opinion, I think it's the best decision for Stevenage. Here's why. When I actually watch Stevenage during my matchday vlogs, if you see my other videos on my channel and that, we do play a lot of boring, dire football. We only score one goal a game, lightly. Maybe 2 goals a game, or 2-1 maybe. But not loads of goals. Not entertaining football at Stevenage at the Lamax Stadium. So, in a way, for him to leave to Rotherham, I think that's probably the best decision that maybe he made, that he jumped ship to another team. And we'll be playing Rotherham next season because they've been relegated from the Championship to manage, of course, in the League One. So that'll be a very interesting game when actually Stevenage do actually play against Rotherham next season. But like I said before, I'm going to talk about the candidates. Potential candidates could take over the managerial reign of Steve Evans. There's 3 managers that I think could take over Stevenage. My first candidate I want to talk about that Stevenage should actually appoint for next season, Wayne Rooney. Look, Wayne Rooney is learning the trade about a manager. You know, he's a young coach. He's 38 years of age. I know he had a very good football career at United, played for Everton, and also played for England, and he was the top ever goal scorer at the England national team. But he has to learn the trade of being a manager. And I know a lot of players, ex-great footballers, you know, retire and go and manage, of course. They don't do well in the top level, like Frank Lampard and, you know, Steven Gerrard, and obviously Wayne Rooney at Derby. Well, Derby did okay, actually, and he was loved by Derby fans, but at Birmingham, he was dreadful. But I think for him, he might be a great manager one day. I just think maybe he needs some experience in the lower levels of football. And I know that a lot of ex-great footballers actually managed down the lower leagues as well. Like Sol Campbell managed Macclesfield Town a couple of years ago. Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank actually managed Burton Albion, the team we actually played against last weekend, and we actually lost 2-1 in that game. But those are the examples that I'm on about, and I think Wayne Rooney should really take Stevenage appointment very seriously because, you know, he did okay at Derby. He really tried to get Derby to actually survive the Championship, but they had problems with the EFL, points deducted at Derby County. They couldn't pay their players, their staff and that lot. And they were suffering Derby as a football club. And unfortunately couldn't save them and their points were deducted. My second appointment that I think that Stevenage should look into as the next manager to replace Steve Evans, and that's the Bournemouth manager, Luke Garrard. I know Luke Garrard's a National League manager. Maybe it's a big jump for National League for him to go and manage in League One. But he's a young, promising manager. He's been at Bournemouth now for almost 10 years at Bournemouth. And this coach got Bournemouth almost promoted into League Two a couple of seasons ago. I think they had a game in the playoffs they did twice, I think they had. And they lost in the final at Wembley Stadium, they did. I think it was actually against Tranmere Rovers, I think they lost to at that time. And I think it was in the playoff mix, I think last season he was for Bournemouth. And he did quite well to actually give Bournemouth and reach them into the quarterfinals. Or was it the quarterfinals or the round of 5 of the FA Cup? They beat Bournemouth, I remembered, this manager did. And I know Bournemouth were in the Premier League the first season, or might have been in the Championship maybe before they were promoted into the Premier League, Bournemouth. But Bournemouth knocked out Bournemouth out of the FA Cup. And this manager is a young, promising coach. He's been at Bournemouth for 9 years, but I think Stevenage should take a gamble and have a look at his, CV and maybe his record in terms of what he's done for Bournemouth. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he might be a big jump for him to go and manage in League One for the National League. But I think they should look into Luke Garrard, of course, to take over Steve Evans for next season. Third candidate should take over from Steve Evans as manager for Stevenage Football Club is Gareth Ainsworth. And this man was a real legend at Wycombe Wanderers. He was the man who actually was appointed as manager for Wycombe in 2012. And he was there for 11 strong years at Wycombe. He got them from League 2, promoted them all the way into the Championship. His football was absolutely brilliant to watch. Ainsworth's style of football is more like attacking-minded manager he is. He likes teams to play aggressively and really high-pressing style onto the pitch, going towards the goal. And that's what Stevenage need. When we had Steve Evans before, he was a coach, of course, really played boring, sour football. But this man could take Stevenage to another level in terms of us maybe be the candidates maybe to be promoted potentially into the Championship for next season. Who knows? But there are bigger teams who obviously get relegated from the Championship down to League 1. Might even be a better compared to us. And maybe some of the players for Stevenage might even join Steve Evans at Rotherham United. Who knows? But I think for Gareth Ainsworth, he is obviously a very aggressive coach in terms of he likes attacking football. And he's not a guy who sits back and allow the game to be boring. He's more of an entertaining coach. And wonder why he got Wycombe Wanderers into the Championship for one season. I know that the finances and a lot of clubs were bigger than Wycombe Wanderers and they went down back to League 1. But I think for him, he might be one of the candidates that what Stevenage might need, of course, to take us to the next level. But that's my 3 candidates that I reckon should be the manager of Stevenage Football Club. Comment down below who you reckon, in your opinion, should take over Stevenage Football Club. But that's all for the video here today. And I'll be back, of course, doing one more matchday vlog next week because I'll be going to Stevenage's last game of the season against Cheltenham Town. And maybe by then, we might have got a manager already sorted for us. Who knows? Or it might be in the summer, we might find out who will take over from Steve Evans. That's all we have time for here today on this special video on who do I reckon should actually be one of the candidates to take over from Steve Evans as the manager of Stevenage Football Club. I've said Wayne Rooney, I said Luke Gerrard, and also I said Gareth Ainsworth. And comment down below who do you reckon, in your opinion, should take over Stevenage Football Club as the next manager for next season. That's all I have to say right now. Cheerio. Coming up here on Brimmer Hive Manager Mode, episode 16.